everybody. It is Tuesday night. Welcome to our Homestead Update. As you can see, I'm by myself again this week. Angela's head started hurting her again, and so she's staying away from the getting on the lives and staring at the computers for an hour and a half. But you got me, and we have fun together, don't we? Let's see who we got in the chat. We got Skanes. Skanes was in early. Rose is here. How you doing, Rose? Brian's here. Let's see here. Randy Pitts is here. Starlet's here. Leonard's here. Grateful Hearts Ranch just popped in. Hope you guys are having a great week. Lots happened around here since New Year's. In fact, the last live update was New Year's Eve. Quite a bit's happened around here. The big story, if you watched the channel yesterday, the big story is the snow. We ended up getting, officially they said 18 inches of snow. I know at our place, there were places where the drifts were 3 feet deep. Tag up at Lifetime Free. He lives a little bit north of us. He said that he had great big huge drifts on his place. And I was talking to the guy that does the grading for the county road, came by and snowplowed, and he said on the road just to the west of us, there was a snowdrift that was taller than my house. And so we got extremely lucky in one way around here. The snow was very fluffy. It was very light. It was not very wet, very dry. Had it been wet, we probably would have lost power and had all kinds of problems. But it was light and fluffy. But when the wind starts blowing like it did Sunday night and through Monday, the snow really drifts up bad some places. Hey, HG, I'm not even going to post that, HG. being inappropriate 30 seconds into the live. But we're slowly digging out. Yesterday it was actually a nice day yesterday. Sun came out. It started out at around 8 degrees. It got up to 17, 18 degrees in the afternoon. The sun on the greenhouse was awesome, and as it hit all the flat surfaces, it melted snow off everything. HG's a 58-year-old adolescent. I know that. I know that feeling. I know that feeling exactly, HG. But to this morning though, it got down when I finally crawled out of bed. It was at -3, and then it dropped down to -7 at one point this morning. Hey, Sharon. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoy it. Gregory's here too. Let's see here. You can tell. Skane says you can tell us after you get all the snow coming your way. HG's going to get snowed on. But it was cold. I mean, it was really cold yesterday. Thing about preparing for the cold is you pre-stage everything for the animals. They did a great job. No, we haven't lost anybody so far. Although the ducks, ducks are some stupid animals. They are not very bright. So I took the water out, poured it in their pan, and the big male duck that we've got immediately sits down in the pan and starts splashing around, covers everybody in water, and so they've got frozen feathers. Luckily, they're cold weather hardy. Schools in central Missouri staying closed due to the frigid temps. Yeah, we don't have schools around here closed tomorrow, and I'm going to be on my third snow day this week. Not that I'm complaining, but I actually got quite a bit done. Yesterday I could not get the skid loader running. It was just entirely too cold. Hey, Tamara. It was entirely too cold, and I couldn't get it done. Couldn't get it running. So I just grabbed the shovel, and I went out, and I spent 2.5 hours shoveling out the drive, just so I could get the car in and out. Did manage to get it going this afternoon, and so I spent, in 30 minutes, I cleared just as much snow as I did in 2.5 hours yesterday. And the only thing bad that happened was I nicked the mailbox with the scoop as I was moving snow. So I got to go out tomorrow and fix the mailbox there. Can Squash says he got 10 to 11 inches of snow just south of the 435 Loop, College Boulevard. That's over in Overland Park, which is a suburb of Kansas City. It's on the Kansas side. Yeah, Kansas, we got 18 inches officially. Blowing a little bit more, and I think it snowed more here. I think it was closer to 22 inches at our house, but they take those measurements down in Topeka, so you never know how accurate they are. You know, but the animals are doing good. Was really afraid that Lola was going to give birth during this cold snap. Her belly fell and her bag filled up, which to me, that's like, oh, she's going to drop it any minute. But Angela pointed out that with that goat, it's usually 4 or 5 days after that happens when she gives birth. So tomorrow's supposed to be the last day of really cold weather. And so hopefully when she gives birth, it'll be warmer and the kids will be okay. Because I'll be honest with you, I don't want to bottle feed them. I'm just tired of it. Let's see here. Let's go back up. I'm missing some stuff. Independent Mini popped in. How you doing? Let's see here. Somebody asked how Angela was doing. She's doing okay. She was supposed to have her MRI on Sunday. Got canceled, of course, because it was bad. It started sleeting Saturday and Sunday. By the time it was time to take her, they were shutting down the highway. Like nobody could drive on it because of the whiteouts and stuff. But she's doing okay. She ended up with a headache. She was doing okay this afternoon, but she got a headache this evening and decided that she would bow out tonight. But she's doing better. She's rescheduled for Thursday, I think. Thursday or Friday, I don't remember which. But we'll get her there. Let's see here. Somebody asked if the skid steer was, yeah, Gregory asked. Yeah, it's diesel. It's diesel. And you know how it is when it gets cold. It just becomes a bear to start, especially mine's an older one. Mine's a 2006, I think, 2005, 2006. And it's once it gets cold. But I popped the back hatch open and let the sunshine on it this afternoon. And then when I turned it on, I turned on the glow plugs and everything. And after about 5 minutes, I started it up and it let it idle for about 5 minutes and it was good to go. Had a tire that went flat though. That's a pain in the butt whenever it's snowy outside. Let's see here. What we got going on? You guys are just tearing up the chat tonight. Bonnie says magnesium L 318 is good for migraines. Well, I don't think she's got a migraine. I think she's still trying to get over the concussion. I'll be honest with you. She didn't like me saying this, but I'll be honest. She did not take care of herself properly the first couple of weeks, so that just makes it last longer. And we are, as of tomorrow, it will be 4 weeks from the time of the accident. So she's gonna go get her head checked and make sure that there's nothing wrong. But she's paying the price. I gotta be honest with you. She's paying the price. But she's okay. She's getting better. She's not as bad as she was last week. She'll be better next week. Let's see here. So people are talking about Tamber says put ground cover on your raised beds or else you'll end up with great big dirt sickles going into the spring. Gregory says his sister lives in KCMO and they had ice before the snow yet. Yeah. So we could not have gotten more than 1/8 of an inch. We lucked out. I was talking with somebody that's on the East Coast. They were saying that they were afraid that they were going to lose power and they were getting a whole bunch of ice. So we got extremely lucky in that regard. And we were talking about it we haven't gotten this much snow in 15 years or so, and the last time it snowed this much was right after it had iced about a half an inch on all the trees. In Kansas City during that ice storm had damage on about 70% of the trees within the city limits. It was a great year for getting free mulch, though. Brian, thank you for posting it. There's our link to our web store. If something's not in stock, we can get it made very quickly for you. Okay, what else is going on around here? The county just published new solar regulations. I have not read them yet, and I'm hoping that they're just dealing with the commercial solar farm that they're trying to put in, that the commissioners, I'm positive, are getting a kickback on. But that's just me speculating. I'm not saying that for a fact, but it would not surprise me if they were getting kickbacks. But I think that's what the regulations are for. If it's for residential solar, I'm sure there's going to be a whole slew of people that are very upset. Yeah, Ken says the snow in Kansas City was fourth most one day since 1888, and 2 of those days, if I remember correctly, are within the last 40 years. Because I remember the big blizzard of 77, 78. We lost power for like a week and a half. We lived in a suburb of Kansas City, there in Grandview, or I'm sorry, Hickman Mills, but we lost power for a week, and then, like I said, the one 15 years ago, we got quite a bit of snow. Brian says he has thousands of windmills around me. Electric costs a bit cheaper than most people. I was reading a report yesterday, and actually, I'm sorry, it wasn't reading a report. I was watching Peak Prosperity, Dr. Chris Martinson, and he had a graph that somebody had made, and the higher percentage of your electrical production is solar and wind, green energy, the higher your cost of energy. The United States is sitting right at around 20%, give or take, of sustainable energy. And I think Denmark had the highest one on the list, and their cost was about 5 times larger than ours. Oh, there you go. In the 70s, grew up near Martin City. Yeah, we lived there in Hickman Mills. Used to go over to Martin City to the smokestack over there. That was a place to go eat. Oh man. Let's see. The 1970s are great for snow and snowmobiling. Yeah, we were talking about that the other day, that it seems like the weather patterns are changing, and it's nothing related to global warming or anything. It's just the Earth. It's just the Earth doing. Oh yeah, Keegan's. I've been to Keegan's. That was a long time ago though. But yeah, it's the weather patterns are changing. We noticed that Tornado Alley is south of us now. We used to be right in the middle of Tornado Alley. In fact, there's a town to the east of us called Tonganoxie, and the big thing when I was growing up was the Tonganoxie split. The storms that hit that area right around Tonganoxie, Kansas, and they would either go to the north or go to the south, and they'd miss Kansas City proper. But there were a whole bunch of tornadoes that would be spawned just outside of Kansas City. Let's see here. The best way to deal with snow and ice is to use fire. Elon Musk blowtorch. Have a ball. Yeah, the problem with that, Brian, is it was so cold yesterday morning that they could not put the salt and the ice prevention down on the ground because it would melt and then instantly refreeze. That's how cold it was yesterday morning. I think from my understanding this afternoon, they were able to get the highways cleared. And if it weren't for the frigid cold, probably be going to work tomorrow. But we got kids that live out in the country, and they're standing out waiting for the bus for 30-40 minutes. They can't do that in this cold weather. We have a wind farm south of us. 85% of the power went to Omaha, 300 miles away. Yeah, that's that. We've got a big field there in northeastern Kansas, up northwest of where the Hacks live, and that's the same thing. It's going up that direction. Hey, Mr. Zeg, how you doing? Do you guys get any snow there in Lewisburg, Tennessee, or any ice? Dusty Country Road, glad you guys could make it. Tamara, thank you very much. That whole, if you haven't seen the live I did yesterday, that was a very impromptu thing. I did not plan on doing a live. I was trying to shoot a video showing how warm it was in the greenhouse, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it in less than 3 minutes. I was like, I'll just go live, and was only going to spend like 5 minutes on the live and talk to everybody, and we ended up spending almost 30 minutes on it. It was actually enjoyable. It was nice break. I got to get inside the greenhouse, and for anybody that can catch it, the temperature differential in the greenhouse got up to 60 degrees temperature difference from the outside temperature yesterday. This today was only about 50 degrees, maybe a little bit less, because it was so cold here today. Randy's sitting here, sitting at 29 degrees. Been 23 for the last 2 mornings at 4 a.m. Yeah, it was negative. The ambient temperature got down to -7, and they said that the wind chill was down like 18, but I'll be honest with you, I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell you. Quite honestly, and anybody that lives in cold weather, if you agree with me, back me up on this and let people know. When it gets to a certain level of cold, you can't tell the difference. -10 does not feel like any different from -30. Seriously, at least to me. It doesn't feel any different. Now, I understand if you get down to like -40, like you're in Antarctica and stuff, yeah, that's a different thing. Brian says the kids these days are spoiled. He had to actually walk in the snow in Alaska, going uphill both ways to school in snowshoes, carrying a big book bag and dragging my horse. No, poor horse. The ducks. Speaking of animals and the snow, the ducks. They're out there sitting in the snow. They found the deepest part of the snow and plopped down in it, and they're sitting there and they're shaking. I'm like picking them up and putting them back in the coop, and they'd be out 5 minutes later. They were having a good time. I let everybody out this morning, and some of the guineas took off and like were just flying around the property, just enjoying themselves. And then when I went to put everybody away, all the guineas weren't back, and I was like, lost some. And turns out they were in the big coop. They didn't want to go in the small coop, but I put them in there because they got to learn where to sleep. We had a big blizzard here in November of '75. For 3 days, it blew and snowed and lots of drifts, but it didn't lose power. Yeah, we lose power here because they don't trim the trees back enough, and then you get that heavy snow load on it, and it snaps. We've had one power outage that I know of that was not tree related. At least I don't think it was tree related. Let's see here. Bonnie says disagree. Big difference between South Dakota -41 and -22 Missouri. Experienced both in the same week. Now, okay, so whenever you add moisture to the mix, yeah, that changes it. Missouri tends to be a lot more wet when it snows. I know at least where my family lives up in Nebraska, when it snowed, they didn't get a lot of wet snow. They got a lot of dry, blowy snow and a lot of cold weather. Gregor says, I'm surprised how warm it was in your greenhouse when you're in there. Yeah, it does a good job. That greenhouse specifically, if I got to fix that one panel because it keeps popping out, and I gotta figure out how to fix that. But once I get that fixed, it'll be okay. The big problem isn't the cold in the wintertime, it's the heat in the summer. It literally becomes unusable. Hopefully we bought that sunscreen to put over the top of it, so we'll see if that helps. Oh yeah, I was sweating by the time I was done with that video. Anything sub-zero isn't fun. Many layers are required. You know, I was out there this morning. I had this shirt on and insulated, my thick overalls, not my thin ones. And I'll tell you what, I was sweating after 40 minutes of working outside this morning. I came in last night after shoveling that snow, and I had to take all my clothes off. I'm surprised I didn't catch pneumonia last night because everything was wet. I had ice in my beard, and my watch cap was all wet and sweaty, and all my underclothes were wet. That's one thing you guys got to remember. I can't believe I got to say this, and it hit me today. Don't forget to take a shower. Hey, Homestead twins. I went 2 days, and I realized, I was like, I've been wearing the same clothes for 2 days. I need to really get these off and take a shower and get cleaned up. But you get warm in your jammies or your sweatpants, and you just don't want to take them off. Let's see. Skanes woke up sweating this morning without the heat on. Had 2 big dogs piled on me. Well, that's the best way to stay warm. Bill says, have you? Oh, hang on. I can't read that. Have been away up in PA for a few weeks back at the homestead house. She's doing okay, Bill. She got a headache tonight, so she's not on the live, but she's getting better. No, I wasn't stinky. Okay, look. Having worked in a hospital, a major inner city hospital, for 17 years, I know the mechanics of winter stink. The homeless dudes, they don't stink in the wintertime. Seriously, they go in there and they do not stink. Springtime, when the homeless dudes peel off all those layers of clothes, that's when they start stinking. And when I say they stink, it's you guys remember that movie, The Abyss, where the water thing went through and the SEAL guy shot it with a gun and stuff. I don't know if you guys remember that movie. That's kind of the way the stink is, because you'll be walking down the hallway and it'll like smack you in the face. Seriously, it would smack you in the face, and then you'd be 3 feet beyond it and you couldn't smell anymore. But these guys, they would just leave these trails all through the hospital. Skanes had her big heavy-duty Mexican blanket on her too. Yeah, the puppers used to come in here and sleep with me, but once it started snowing, I kicked them out because they get muddy, and they get mud in your bed. 3 quotes. That's the way to do it. I wake up on snow days when I got to go out and tend the fire. I wake up, throw logs into the stove, and then sit in the recliner next to it and just soak up the heat, and then fall asleep for another couple hours. I'm at that age where I get 6 hours of sleep. In fact, I have to force myself to stay up till 10 so that I'm not waking up at 3 in the morning anymore. Oh, let's see what else is going on. Oh, we got a settlement for the truck. It wasn't as much as we wanted, but it was a fair offer. It was a fair offer. Dropped the mail. I had to mail the title in before they pay us, and got it into the system. Oh, excuse me. Got it into the system right as it started sleeting and stuff. So I don't know where it is. I don't know how long it's going to take to get to Georgia. But as soon as they get it, we'll get an offer. We'll get the link to do the direct deposit, and then we can start looking for a truck. I found a couple. I found, you can find an 06, 07 truck for 10, 11 grand, a decent one. In fact, I found a couple that were a year younger than our truck with half as many miles. And those those diesel 2500s, they've got that Allison 1000 transmission in it, and it's got the Duramax engine in it. You know, those things are rated for 1 million miles, and they're not even broken in by the time they hit 300,000. You know, so if you can find one that's less than 300,000, you've got a very young and very good engine. No, Skeins, they did not handle the trailer. I'm still a little upset about that. We're probably gonna look for a new insurance company as soon as the coop fire rolls off the insurance. It rolls off next year, I think, maybe 2 years. But yeah, I was not happy about that. Hey, the upside is I get to look for a trailer like I want. I got an excuse to buy a trailer I want. HG says he drives an 02 and an 86. I would love to find an 86 C body. Actually, I take that back. I'd like to find an 86 anything. Tamber says if you're going to get Ford diesel, get a 7.3. Yeah, we're going to stick with the Chevy 2500. Diesel or gas. You guys, anybody that drives a farm truck, has farm and does all that stuff, or you do any hauling with the truck, let me know in the chat what you would recommend, gas or diesel. I am leaning on getting away from the diesel, and I'll let some people respond to what I just asked first before I tell you about it. But I've been really thinking about it, and if I could find one with a manual transmission in it, I would get a manual transmission too. The neighbor Chris loaned me that little Toyota, and it's a manual, and I forgot how fun manuals are to drive. But so here's the thing, diesel and gas. So the big selling point for diesel is if from a preparedness standpoint, right, is that you've got the ability to use other fuel sources. You know, you've got cooking oil and all these other things. But we were talking about it. If you can't get diesel fuel to fuel your vehicles, what makes you think you're going to get hundreds and hundreds of gallons of cooking oil? I mean, you're not going to be able to drive and get it. Eventually, it's going to run out in the restaurants and stuff. You know, and so we were talking about it, and a gas engine is way easier to convert over to a wood gasifier. And if you know what a wood gasifier is, well, what they do is they basically make a chamber, and they heat the wood up under pressure, and then the oils come out of it, and you burn the oils in the engine. It's a very simple process. In fact, Hacks is doing a lot of research on that, and he's looking at making one. Yeah, gravitonic propulsion. Yeah, that's the one thing. It's the one thing that makes me question that what the Sean Ryan talked about in that interview. Let's see here. The old Chevy square bodies are beasts. Rebuilding and upgrading is so much better. Yeah. Actually, Tag had an old C-body King cab that he was doing, and he was having all the internal, all the engine, everything. He was having it upgraded, but he was having all the electronics taken off of it at one point. And you know, that's a great idea. I love the idea of doing that. And he's not the first person that I've heard doing that. But they, you know, you get that classic old look, but you put a new engine underneath it with no electronics on it, and you basically got the same type of vehicle as what you started with, only better. Let's see here. Homestead Twins. I don't think any alternative fuels are that viable for most people. Properly store fuel for what you drive, pre-D and G, and diesel and gas and rotation. Yeah, absolutely. depending on what other equipment you have, that may sway which one makes more sense too. Yeah, but eventually, you know, long-term SHTF, all that stuff's going to run out. You know, all the petroleum products are going to run out, at least for a little while, if not long-term. You know, diesel. Gregory says diesel, no matter what company, can be expensive to repair sometimes. If you're going to pull something with a lot, I would get diesel. Yeah, you know, Gregory, we don't pull anything over 10,000 pounds. And the Chevy 2500s, the gas ones have a good transmission in it and a good gas engine, and they pull that no problem with it or whatever. I just really hate setting points on the older vehicles. Oh yeah, I remember doing that. Doing that while on the road. I had a Jeep. I used to have to do that all the time on. Let's see here. And I apologize, guys. I'm missing all kinds of comments in there. But anyway, so that's it for the homestead. I can't really think of anything else that's going on here in the homestead at the moment. Let's talk about some ag news though. There's some stuff that's happening agriculturally that really kind of concerns me on one hand, but there's some other stuff that I'm like, it's about time. The big one that's good news as far as I'm concerned. The GOP put forth a farm spending bill that did away with the ethanol cutouts. You know, because they use a huge percentage. I can't. Somebody that grows corn, tell me the percentage of corn that's grown that is used to make ethanol. It's like an ungodly amount, and it's never made sense to me using food to make fuel. That just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Because if you look at the economics of it, ethanol is not a good trade-off for the amount of energy it takes to make it, and the amount of energy it produces. It's not a good trade-off. So I think that's a good thing, and I understand it's going to hurt some farmers. There's some farmers that have really, you know, Iowa, Nebraska, Missouri. I haven't seen a lot of corn here in Kansas. I mean, there's a lot here, but not as much as in Missouri and Iowa and Nebraska that I've seen. But you know, I know it's going to hurt some people, but man, we need to get off that. That's something that the environmentalists got put in place because it makes people feel good. Let's see here. It was nothing more than trying to increase the market for a given product. Pure lobbying. Absolutely. Oh, look at that. Gregory had a 454 with a 50-gallon fuel tank. Ugh, love it. My dream vehicle is from 1970 to 1972. Oh my gosh. The top, I can't even remember the name of it. Not the Scout. The K5 Blazer. God, man, I'm tired. It's been a long day. Yeah, the 70 to 72 K5 Blazer where the entire top comes off. That would be my dream vehicle. Let's see here. Most corn isn't edible without heavy processing. A company I used to work for processed corn into starch, and the byproducts are used to create ethanol. Well, that's interesting. I didn't know that. I did not know that. Farmers that aren't subsidized to farm corn may turn land into solar farm. You know, they're yeah. There's always that possibility. Always wanted a K5 like that on big ball. Absolutely. The bigger the tires, the better. Girls in skirts should not be able to crawl up into that thing without your help. Let's just put it that way. Farmers will need to rotate to planting real food again. Sad to see many apple orchards getting ripped out and planting subsidized soybeans and corn. Oh yeah, absolutely. Northwestern Missouri used to have all kinds of apple farms, and it's either been torn out for development or for putting in monoculture. Yeah, but that in my book, them doing away with those subsidies is a good idea. If and I don't think solar should be subsidized, and I don't think wind should be subsidized either. If it's going to survive, if it's a viable replacement, the government should not be paying for it. All right, it should not be subsidized. It should be able to stand on its own merit. That's one reason. That's the reason why gas engine or internal combustion engines will always win out, because you can't make a vehicle that's alternative without huge subsidies. And they prop Elon Musk up as a huge success story with the Tesla. His company wouldn't be here. Tesla would not exist. SpaceX would not exist if it hadn't been for all the subsidies he got to get Tesla up off the ground. And then Tesla subsidizes his SpaceX stuff, and amongst other things. It's a very overly simplified thing, but it's just it's if it can't stand on its own, it should die. She says currently showing about 35% going to fuel, some to alcohol, drinking or drinking plus fuel, and about 5%. Oh, I'm kind of surprised that the drinking alcohol is only 5%. The corn that they use for ethanol production is not for human consumption. Not only does it make fuel, but they also make protein cubes, etc., for cattle and mash. Yeah, see, and that's a lot of people don't understand that, Gregory. That most of the corn made in the United States is feed corn, and you can't. It's not made for human consumption. You can eat it in a pinch. I'm a huge advocate of looking for alternative food sources in SHTF, and feed corn is an alternative food source. It's not the greatest. You know what? Okay, this one. You guys hear? I'm going to give you. This is Grumpy's SHTF food tip of the week. You guys can write this down. If you go get goat replacement milk, the powder that they make for bottle babies, not the cholesterol, but the actual milk, the mother's milk replacement. If you compare the nutritional value of that powdered milk with whole milk, they're almost identical. Seriously, the whole milk is a little bit better on the vitamins and stuff, but the replacement milk for kids and lambs is almost exactly the same as the whole milk. And I grew up on powdered milk. My family was kind of poor when I was growing up, and my parents used to use powdered milk to make the whole milk go further, right? So it would be half and half. And that the powdered milk we used to get had this taste, and I can't explain it. It's the powdered milk taste. And the new powdered milk doesn't taste like that. So I don't know what they did. Anyway, but that's what the replacement milk tastes like. And so you can do it if you want to have a 50-pound bag of replacement milk to use. That's what you do. Sometimes things can't stand on their own due to unfair competition. Yeah, this is true. Tamara says we aren't going to waste any drinking alcohol putting into a truck. We'll just ride the horse. If I don't like riding. I like horses. I don't like riding on them. It's never have. Skange drank a lot of powdered milk as a kid too. It's a poor 1970s thing, 1960s, 1970 thing. Oh yeah, it's absolutely carnation powdered milk in the red and white box. Yep, it had that taste. You know what else has that taste now? You can buy. Remember the little square milk containers? They look like juice boxes, but they're shelf stable milk. and they've got a 2-year lifespan that they're supposed to be on the shelf. We've got some that we've had for 4 years that I pull out one every now and then to taste it and make sure it's still good. But it tastes like overly processed milk is what it tastes like. Goats and sheep milk is different protein structure than cow's milk. It's more digestible than cow's milk. Yep, we used to sell our goat's milk to some people that had lactose intolerance, but they could drink the goat's milk. Anti says, host a squirrel Winter Olympics. Winners aren't dinner until the new year. Yeah, skeins tastes like the new stuff tastes good. Got powdered milk, cheese, peanut butter from commodities. I had never tried powdered peanut butter, and I tried some. Not a big fan. Not a big fan. I think I'm just going to do without peanut butter instead of using the powdered peanut butter. I don't mind the powdered cheese. The powdered cheese is good. It's if you get the right kind, you can make Kraft macaroni and cheese out of it. Tamara, I know how to ride a horse. That's how I know that I'm not a big fan of it. If it comes to life and death, and I've got access to a horse, I'll ride it. I'm not going to enjoy it. But I just if I've got another alternative, I'd rather do that. Seriously. Right now, horses in my book are black holes that you just throw money into in the middle of a pasture. Alcohol from plants near me mostly goes to California to satisfy their fuel mandates. Yeah. Okay, here's an interesting thing. I ran into, whenever the storm was getting ready to roll in, I went up to fuel the car up with gas up at the gas station on the reservation, and I ran into one of the guys that manages the maintenance department, and started talking to him. And last year we had a problem with the generators not kicking on whenever we had a cold weather power outage. And so I asked him, I said, did they ever get that fixed? He said, yeah. He said, the problem was they used summer mix. They did not replace the diesel with the winter mix. They left the summer mix in there. And so now they've got winter mix in the diesel generator year round. That way they don't have to worry about swapping it out. Hey, Jodine, hey, what's up? Oh, let's see here. I gotta go back up. Jody, how things up in your neck of the woods? I hope things are going well for you. Rosie says it's official. She's gonna have to make a keto ketchup. Doesn't have any sugar in it, right? Is that what makes it keto? Because you don't put sugar in it. Let's see. The horse is good for manure for the gardens and burning a bunch of hay. Love my Mustangs, but oh yeah, they are expensive. We had a Pasifino, Patty the Pasifino, and I don't know if you know what a Pasifino is. A Argentinian horse, but they've got a what's it called? A natural gait. When they walk, you know how most American horses, they got that little bounce to their step. This one, Pasafinos, just glide. She was a pretty animal, and watching her trot was just something else to watch. She did not like me though. She got mad at me. We were moving her from one pasture to another, which is about 3 miles away, and instead of using the trailer, Angela was going to ride her down there. So I was following in the truck, and they got to a bridge, and she did not want to go across that bridge. So I had to grab her halter and walk her across that bridge. And after that, she would not let me get within about 15, 20 feet of her. She loved Angela and the kids though. She loved them. Real peanut butter with only peanuts, possibly sea salt, shouldn't go bad. Yep. I'll be honest with you though, Anti. went to a military school, spent a lot of time in the military. I got this thing for crappy industrial peanut butter, the government peanut butter, the type that when you open the can, yeah, it comes in a can. It doesn't come in a screw top, but you open the can, you got to stir it up to mix the oils back into it. And I know it's not the best. I know it's loaded with sugar. I know it's loaded with salt, but it just brings back good memories. Randy says his Mustangs were actually from Montana, and the best babies after breaking and training. Yeah, my daughter went to school with a kid that by the time he was 21, he was worth about $500,000 because he was a horse trainer, and he was one of the best horse trainers on the East Coast at the age of 21. Yeah, it's crazy. Peanuts can be grown in clay soils as far north as Indiana. How do they do in the like? Well, I guess they don't overwinter, do they? Can you leave them in the ground to store them like you do potatoes, or do you have to pull them and get them out of the cold? Rosie says okay, everybody, write this down. Write this down. Rosie just gave you her secret recipe to keto ketchup. Olives, garlic powder, onion powder, filtered water, distilled white vinegar, xanthan gum, and love. Special Rosie love. I don't know. You guys might try that recipe, but you're not going to have the same type of love that Rosie's got for the food. So yours may not. Your mileage may vary there. Tamara says, yeah, I have a bike that's a tricycle too, an industrial, and yeah, what do they call those? The beach cruisers? Is that what those the 3-wheeled ones are called? I want to get an e-bike. I want to get an e-bike because that's getting up the hills is nice on an e-bike. Let's see here. Peanut butter jelly. Yep. Peanut butter and banana is probably my favorite. Okay, Bonnie says you got to pull potato or got to pull peanuts. Yes, Hax's son has been doing a lot of research on how to convert just regular bikes into e-bikes, and once he gets done with that, I may go to some garage sales and see if I can't find some mountain bikes that are for sale, and have him convert those. Oh, Scanes, don't get me started. Peanut butter and a spoon. That is the best snack in the world. Oh, peanut butter and honey. Yeah, my mom used to make that for us all the time. Let's see here. Okay, so we talked about. Oh, let's get back to ag news. We kind of got sidetracked there. So some more ag news. Scanes, this one happened down in your neck of the woods, and this bothers me. So there's a 65-year-old man in Louisiana that passed away a couple of days ago, and it was reported that he died because of the avian flu, the HVN1, not because he had comorbidities. He was 65. He was a diabetic. He was obese. He had heart condition. He had breathing problems, COPD. He had a whole bunch of underlying things. So it should have been he died with it, not because of it. They reported it, but that's not the thing that bothered me about this. The thing that bothered me was it was reported that he was not an agricultural worker, and he was exposed to it from a backyard flock and wild birds. They're starting to make they're starting to connect the backyard flocks to the new scamdemic that they're trying to push on us. I was just reading right before I came on here about 3 people in Wisconsin that got it that were agricultural workers, and then there was some in California that got it from backyard flocks. The one I read it on the Daily Voice, I think it was, which is a left-leaning news site. But so they're trying to do it. I don't know if you remember last year, they were culling millions of birds out of the system in Iowa and Nebraska and Wisconsin, up in that area. They're going to try it again, and they're going to do it with backyard flocks. They're going to make the population believe that the backyard flocks are the danger. Now, here's the other one that bothered me reading about the avian flu. They're also starting to push the narrative that cows, milk cows, and beef cows are getting it. I have not seen anybody calling for culling of herds because of it. But when they start doing that, here's something to remember. And I got this from somebody that grows cattle, raises cattle. When a cow, the avian flu is not deadly to cattle. They get a runny nose, and they basically get a head cold, like what compared to us. So they don't die. So if they start pushing the narrative that they need to start culling these animals, I would be very skeptical. All right, and I'm not a medical expert. I know YouTube said that they're going to ban anybody that says anything that contradicts what the World Health Organization says. So I hope I just didn't get sideways, but I would be very skeptical when they start calling for that. The other thing that I was reading about, processors are starting to have a hard time finding enough cattle to fulfill orders. The big beef farms, and here's the thing. Part of it is the weather and the agriculture and stuff, but a big part of the shortages we're going through now. This is the second round of the shortages. Anybody that listened to the channel 2 years ago, whenever we first moved here and got in here. So it takes 18 months to get a calf to butcher, right? From birth to butcher takes 18 months. Well, they broke that cycle in 2020. All right, they broke that cycle, and you had a whole bunch of farmers that had to call viable breeding stock because they could not find processors for the beef they had on hand, right? So that broke it. So that's a 2-year thing. And if you remember correctly, in 2022, meat prices spiked. And listening to industry insiders talking about it, they said the second round is going to happen roughly 2 years after that point. And we're sitting right at about 2 years from when that first spike in prices happened. This is just an ongoing extenuation of the problems that were caused by shutting down processing plants in 2020. Bonnie says, my runner just shipped out 8 cattle trailers of yearling steers today. Oh, there's some money. Tamara wants to know if you're gonna vaccinate your chickens there, Scanes. No, I'm the how do I put this? Well, you know what? I'm just gonna say it. The death rate, from COVID was slightly higher than a really bad flu year. I was comparing it. I was looking at the 2013 flu season was a really bad one, and the 2017 was a really bad one, and the death rate of the flu was like barely less than half a percentage point higher, if I remember correctly. All right, the numbers that happened were not because of the flu itself. It was because of the way it was handled. You do not stick sick people into retirement homes because you're looking for bed space. All right, you don't do that. You do not stick a respiratory patient in with a bunch of elderly people that are high risk of having complications due to the flu. All right, you just don't do it. And I would really like to see somebody parse out the nursing home deaths from the regular population, and see what the death toll looks like compared with the nursing home deaths and without the nursing homes. I'd really like to see somebody do that. I'm sure somebody's done it. I just have, if I saw it, I didn't remember it. Hey, Northern Girl Hobbies. Hey, you and Terminator got a huge monstrous gift yesterday, didn't you? Mr. Skippy Trudeau is stepping down. 9 years of running your country into the ground, and it's almost over. Man, you guys got to be part. And listening to his speech, I didn't hear it when it happened, but listen to his speech. The dude basically said the high point of his administration was martial law against the protesters. That was his big accomplishment. Man, I was in Vancouver in 91, 92. Beautiful country. Canada, Canadians, the Canadian people we met were the greatest people. They were super nice. Didn't like your taxes, but hey, you got to take the good with the bad, right? But yeah, it's a shame what they've done to you guys. Hopefully you guys can get back on track with the new. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the guy that's going to be the new prime minister, or whatever he's called. But he's pretty awesome guy. I'll keep my words to myself on that topic. Randy says his chickens are all fat, and the guineas are all fat and sassy with attitude, especially the turkey. Yeah, turkeys are just got attitudes. Hey, what's up, Spags? Hey, listen. Anybody that missed it last night, Spags and crew had Billy Bond and William Bond on, and they were talking about J6 stuff. I have not gotten a chance to watch the whole thing, but I would highly recommend you going over to the Midwest Preparedness Project YouTube channel and checking that out. Billy's always got something good to say, and he's been very worked up since the hurricane. He is not happy with a lot of people, and Anti says Sparkle Sauce organization could bring the beginning of the biggest geopolitical shift since World War II. Well, you know what? I'm not going to say he's a cause. He's more of a symptom. Him resigning is a symptom of the geopolitical changes happening. I'm a huge Peter Zion guy. Zion, he's a consultant, and he talks about the coming deglobalization and across the world. And I'm a firm believer that we are about to see that happen as America steps back from being the world policeman and kind of lets things go their own way in certain places. Northern Girl says, "Yeah, we'll see what happens in a couple of months." Trump says he's going to annex Canada. Well, he offered him to be the 51st state, but there's a counteroffer today, as a matter of fact. Was it there yesterday? But somebody offered to buy Alaska, Michigan, and Minnesota. Man, that's a tough one. 40, 50 years ago, that would not have been a go. But with the way Michigan's gone and Minnesota's gone the past 20 years, might be a good trade-off. I'm just saying. No, you know what? That whole annexing Canada, that was a troll. That was him trolling, just like him talking about Greenland and the Panama Canal. Yeah, he's trolling people. Gregory says it's his understanding that Joe will not be out as the PM until an election in March. I don't know. I read that it was going to be like he'll be out within a week or so, but it could be wrong. Yeah, Tamara says it's a good trade. It's about controlling the Northwest Passage just in case. The ice, and just in case the ice does melt. There you go. With that offer, danged if we would do that, dang if we don't. I wouldn't get rid of Alaska. I mean, besides the oil fields, man, Alaska's a beautiful state. Years ago, more than a decade ago, I did hear that Mexico, the U.S., and Canada would all join. Not sure. Oh yeah, that's been the super country, the North American super state has been a dream of the globalists for a long time. That was the whole idea behind NAFTA, was to start that and integrate our economies really closely together. Homestead says, break off the Upers. We don't co-sign with Lansing's BS. There are some good people up there. You Uper. Anybody that doesn't know what a Uper, that's somebody that lives on the Upper Peninsula. They are a completely different breed of people. They live in an environment that is extremely harsh at times in the winter. Canada needs their firearms and shovels. Okay, somebody in chat explain the whole shovel thing to me. I heard somebody say that they were banning certain shovels, and I was like, no, this has got to be a joke. But apparently it's a real thing, because you're not the first person that I've heard say that. See, Northern Girl Hobby still has her shovel. Tamara wouldn't give her shovel up either. Oh, man. Okay, so what else is going on in the world right now? There's a couple things I wanted to talk about. Let me pull it up. Elon Musk. Elon Musk has riled up the Labour Party in Britain. He has taken he has taken on the mantle of fighting against the cover-up of the groomer gangs that's been going on for the last 20 years. And Keir Starmer, the current Prime Minister of Britain, has basically made it that the hill that the British, it's not the British. Well, I don't know, with the amount of immigrants they got there, it might be the British people now, but most definitely the British government, the British state. They've decided to make protecting these Asian grooming gangs, which they're basically pedophile rapists, is what they are. He's made that high priority, is protecting these people, and his party has made it that. And Elon Musk has been using X as a platform for championing against the overreach and the loss of liberty that the British people have had. Okay, Dolores. So if he resigns, it would have led to an immediate election. There you go. I see. That's one thing. A lot of Americans, and I'm in this group here. I do not understand the parliamentary process. I do not understand the whole way elections are held. I know they can hold them at any time they want, whenever they need to reform a government. But I do not understand. I do not understand the way the whole thing works. And thank God that I don't have to understand it. That we live in a constitutional republic here south of the border. Okay, here we go. Anti says, Kevin O'Leary is also at Mar-a-Lago with plan for North American Union Canada annex that Trump's Louisiana purchase for a great deal. Oh, interesting. I don't see it happening, though. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm too pessimistic. Northern Girl, these people are being found out one day at a time. It's going to take time, but I think the swamp is going to slowly be drained. Yeah, and here's the problem with that. So liberalism, and I'm talking liberalism with a capital L, not a small L, not classic liberalism. I'm talking about the modern the modern offshoot of Marxism. It's in decline, and the pendulum's swinging back the other way. And the problem arises that these people don't go quietly in the night, all right? And they will literally take, it's better to reign in the ruins of earth than let anybody else have control of it. Yeah, Terminator and Northern Girl could be, they're honorary Americans. But you know, that's the danger. We're seeing it coming out of the White House now. This was the whole idea behind them selling off the border wall, which got stopped. Somebody was buying stuff anonymously, but they finally stopped the sale. From what I understood, they got a court order. You know, selling the border wall. The finger in everybody's eye with the commutation of the death sentences and the pardons. And then the Nobel Peace Prize is a joke. It's a political thing, and it doesn't hold any merit anymore. Right? You can literally get the Nobel Peace Prize for doing nothing, and Obama proved that. All right, they will award it just because you're the political du jour, the political taste of the day. All right. Same thing goes with the Medal of Freedom. The Medal of Freedom, the Presidential Medal of Freedom, for anybody that doesn't live in the United States, the Presidential Medal of Freedom is the highest civilian award in the country that the government gives out. And they just awarded Hillary Clinton, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. George Soros got one too. And somebody else that I remember rolling my eyeballs, you know, but they made it a joke. They've made the Medal of Freedom a joke, and then what's the one underneath that, the one that they gave Liz Cheney for the J6 ramrod. I don't even know what to call it. You know, so these things no longer have any meaning. All right, they don't have any meaning. So and it's just that's a finger in the eye. But they're doing all this other stuff. They're trying to make it so that there's a permanent injunction on offshore drilling, which I don't think would stand up in court. But you know, and a lot of these things, you know, people are getting really upset because Biden's writing. Okay, like I said last week, Biden is not making any of these decisions. Biden is not coming up with these ideas. He's not advocating them. All he's doing is putting his name on paper. These are staffers. These are staffers behind him with an agenda that are doing all this stuff. Okay, so don't go blaming Biden. I think Biden. I think the only thing he's concerned about is ice cream in the afternoon. You know. But anyway, you know, they're trying to make things as bad as possible. You know, and it's already going to be bad, guys. I hate to go watch. Not was it the last up? Yeah, go look at Peak Prosperity. Go look at his predictions for 2025, and he lays out a really good case that we're going to be in a recession here within 12 to 18 months. And there's not much we can do about it because the numbers have been cooked for so long that eventually, you know, here's the thing. Ayn Rand said something one time, and she said, we can ignore reality, but we cannot ignore the repercussions of reality. And we are slowly, even with Trump getting into office and all this, we are slowly rolling into the finding out phase of the national psychosis that we've had over the last 12, 16 years. You know, so you guys just need to get ready for it. This is one of the reasons why we advocate the things that we advocate, the building community and becoming as food independent as possible and becoming as modernly self-sufficient as possible. You know, Trump's not anybody that thinks Trump is going to fix everything is going to be sadly mistaken. They're going to be they're going to be very disappointed at the end of the day. Number one, because the president doesn't have that much power. Number two, because the problems are so big. But I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Hey, Heiji, I'll say it again. Trump is buying us time. That's the crucial thing that he's providing for us, and he's giving us another 3 or 4 years, maybe 8, 12, depending on who the next president is and what they manage to pass, you know. But they're buying us time, and the bad times are going to come. Bad things are going to happen. You know, the thing about, you know, Trump wants to cut off World War III. You know what? It takes two. I've always said it. It takes two to fight, and if the other guy doesn't want to have peace, then we're not going to have peace. You know, this is why we need to be ready for it. Dolores says we've been in a recession for 4 years. We're headed for a depression. Prepare accordingly. Yeah, it could very easily roll over into a depression, and that's a scary thought, you know. But again, if you've been living within your means, and you're not up to your eyeballs in debt, and you've got modern self-sufficiency and some modicum of food independence, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're doing it all by yourself. You know, we're a huge advocate of community-supported agriculture. We're a huge advocate of making connections with local farmers and getting your food from them. You know, they're talking about vaccinating all the animals that go through feedlots with the COVID, the mRNA stuff. They're talking about that. Find yourself an independent rancher and do that. Raise your own. Neighbor Chris got some Dexters, and we were talking about the economics of it. And sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that. You know, we were talking about the economics of raising Dexters, and it's actually, you know, if you complement the Dexter cow with some small feeder hogs that you get and some or sheep, it's very economical, and you're not going to be subjected to the supply chain problems that we're seeing. Northern Girl says she needs to stop being a picky eater. That's the way I read that, Northern Girl. I just read that. That's how I read it. We'd like to talk to you about your auto insurance. Hey, you know what? That's exactly what it is. Everything that we talk about is insurance. And you guys see the benefit of having homeowners insurance. You see the benefit of having car insurance. I really appreciate it now. But you see that why it's a good thing. You need to look at this other insurance too, you know. Well, you said you needed to start eating different stuff. So that just tells me you're a picky eater, or you'd be eating it already. I'm teasing you. Okay, what else? I got a couple more things that I saw. Trump says he wants to meet Putin within the next 6 months to try to stop the war in Ukraine, the Russo-Ukraine war. Let's see, what else? So much stuff. There's so much stuff out there. Oh, Costco apples. So, and I did some research on this. You're going to hear stories about Costco apples having this stuff sprayed on it called Apeel. It's APEEL, and it's to keep the fruits lasting longer during shipment. Bill Gates was involved in this, and you'll hear stuff. You hear people say that he's involved with the company now. He's not involved with the company anymore. But with that said, him having his name associated with this, I don't trust anything that comes out of that company. Seriously, I do not trust it, especially if it's on my food. And from all reports, once this stuff is on it, you can't wash it off. All right, and it bothers me. You know, at least the wax and stuff, you can run it under hot water and wash that stuff off. You can't do this with this appeal stuff apparently. So I would be very wary of buying Costco apples if I were you. You know, and if you've got an alternative, you're better off doing that. Buy local, even if you have to pay more. You know. You know what? You should buy apple trees from foodforestnursery.com, we happen to be an affiliate. You can go down in the description below and get a 10% off code for a first time buy. Was talking with Derek just last week, and he's getting stuff ready for March and April ship dates. So there's always that. You can always grow stuff on your own. Let's see here. Northern Growth. It's not like eggs made from plants. What's that? Eggs made from plants. They're not eggs then. They're called seeds. People. Vegan. You know, hey, you know how you can tell somebody's a vegan? Wait about 30 seconds, they'll let you know. Don't. My daughter's a vegan, but she started being eating vegan because she had some stomach problems that she can't process the proteins in meat as well as everybody else. Learn to graft your own trees. Hey, rescue. Hope y'all staying warm and dry. Well, not staying too warm. Not staying too warm while being outside. And I sat in the skid loader seat for 30 minutes and got my butt wet. So I'm still trying to get the warmth back into my butt cheeks. Let's see here. Vegans and pilots, they'll tell you. And Marines too. I'm not gonna lie. Marines, they'll let you know. They'll let you know they're a Marine veteran. That is foodforestnursery.com. If you go down in the description of this video, there's a link to the Grumpy 10 code, and the link to the website is in the description as well. Derek's a nice guy, and if you go back, we did an unboxing video of his stuff. I got to tell you, the plants are very resilient. He's got a 1 year return policy as long as you plant the plants as directed, and it all comes bare rootstock, which, as far as I'm concerned, is the best way to get your plants and stuff, because that way you know exactly what's on them and all that. Avocados. Gregory says the avocados at Costco too could have that stuff on it. So yeah, just be very, very careful. Yeah, thank you for Rescue. Rescue does these lives where he just gets on and he just talks with people, and he does a great job. It's a great way if you want to throw something on in the background to listen to, throw that on and listen to Rescue talk about his chickens and yell at his dog and work on his house. It's a good time. And every now and then you see some very, very interesting people on there. I'm not naming any names, but every now and then you see some interesting people on there. Just saying. Home says, I have a ton of stuff I need to order this year, and it looks like they have a good selection. Yeah, they really do. We just he had a special deal for us because of videos we made. But I just ordered a couple of dwarf mulberries. What else did I get? Oh, goji berries. Randy, take care. Take care of yourself, and you go live a life done free tomorrow. Remember, when you go to bed tomorrow, be a little bit better, a little bit more prepared than you were when you woke up, all right? HG says he's taking a biochar course starting Thursday with Kelpie. Oh, that sounds fun. That sounds. You have to come in. You have to come in and give us a report next week. Let us know how it went. Interesting. Well, thank you. That's one thing I need to get. I need to hone my biochar skills. I need to get better at it. I usually make charcoal that's unusable than good biochar. Let's see here. What's it? So what does everyone think they wish to plant for their garden this year? Well, you know what? While everybody's typing away, I just want my garden to grow. At this point, I don't care what's in it. It's 3 years since we moved, and I have not had a functioning garden. I've had some plants that grew, and I've gotten some stuff. You know, the apple trees, the fruit trees, pear and apple trees are doing great. But everything else, you know, either the goats get it, or it dies, or something happens. And I just want a garden. That's why I'm moving it. I'm moving it to another area where it's going to be easier to deal with the weeds than where it is. We got this stuff called Johnson grass here that's I hate that stuff, but I'm not going to use herbicide on it. So I got to figure out a way to make it go away without herbicide. Northern Girl says it's going to be a good mix, much different than last year. Greg HG says as much as possible, knowledge first of all. Ask the local herbalist what she had a hard time finding and going to grow some of that. There you go. You know what? It's right up next to the house, and it's right up next to the coop, and it's right up next to the outbuilding. And it's places where I really can't burn it. Any place that I could burn it, the goats and sheep have eaten it down. Gonna hang out tonight or in the morning. Rest you. If it's tonight, I should be off. I'll probably hang around a little bit because, like I said, I got to keep myself awake. Tamara wants squash. We have vine borer if the vine borers don't get them. Cherokee tan pumpkins. Oh, that sounds good. And cream peas. Okay, what did Anti say that you suspect? I can't find it. As for squash, I plant almost exclusively from the Mostada branch of the family, no borers, because they have solid stems, not hollow. Well, that's good to know. That's one thing I need to get back. I've been so busy doing other stuff that I've let my plant knowledge slack, and I need to get back into it and start reading. In fact, you know what? That's a good thing to start right now. I need to get into the library and start reading gardening books again. It's that time of year. Already have onions, carrots, broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, potatoes, and English peas growing now. Yeah, we got snowdrifts growing here. Fried squash for the win. That's some good stuff. I used to hate with a passion squash when I was a kid. Fried, no matter what. I just did not like it. As I've grown up, I love squash. I love squash in all forms now. Same with spinach. I like spinach too. Oh, okay. Look, we're going on an hour and a half. You guys got anything else you want to discuss? I could go on. I could pull up my news feed and find all kinds of stuff that we could talk about. Oh, the Cybertruck, the Cybertruck guy. You know the big selling point of the Cybertruck that Elon Musk put out was it's bulletproof. So so building a homemade bomb inside a Cybertruck, probably not the best way to make things go boom. All right. Now I'll be honest with you. If you guys missed it, Sean Ryan had a guy called Joe Schumatt on last week, and they talked about getting emails from this guy. And Brian made a joke about gravitonic propulsion, which is in the list, which kind of sends up red flags. But anyway, they talked about the Cybertruck blowing up guy, and that the more people talk about that, the weirder and weirder it gets. And then you had the FBI agent get in after the guy in New Orleans ran people over, had an ISIS flag flying off the back of his truck, got up there and flat out told people it wasn't terrorism. They should fire. You know what? That's the one. If Trump does anything, the one thing that I think Trump needs to do is he needs to do a complete power wash of the FBI and the DOJ. Hey, I'm almost thinking that the FBI should be disbanded because it's turned into a politicized Gestapo type of thing. It works for one branch of or one side of politics and works for it, and that's all they work for. And the ATF, they should. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, but they should do away with the ATF as well, because all the functions that the ATF does could be handled by other agencies. And the problem is if they manage to get rid of the ATF, all these other agencies are just as bad. That whole Vegas thing is really strange to say the least. Oh yeah. Everything burnt beyond recognition except the paper plastic passport. His government ID. His government ID looked like somebody took a lighter and burned it. I'm going to keep my mouth shut on what I think is going on there. Yeah, Sam Shoemate. There you go. Yeah. And Sam Shoemate's kind of a nutcase too. He's a big conspiracy theorist. So, doesn't help. I think for all we know, Sam Shoemate could be a disinformation campaign by a 3-letter agency. Let's be honest. Who knows? How do we even know about Vegas? I thought what happened there. Oh, well, they kind of, you do it on TV. It's kind of hard to miss. And as far as IED vehicle-borne IEDs go, is pretty lame. I don't think he was trying to blow stuff up, because if he was, especially you think a special forces guy would be able to make a decent bomb. But okay, that'll probably got me in trouble too, man. Just talking about that. Anybody that lives in California or has family that lives in California, let's say a little prayer for the people near the Palisades fire. I was reading about that. It's growing into a pretty concerning thing. Let's see here. What else we got for you guys? Well, you know what? I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave it tonight. They released his manifesto from his phone saying he wanted a spectacle, not to hurt people, supposedly. Yeah, again, it gets weirder and weirder. Yeah. Hey, at least he didn't review the Unabomber's manifesto and give it a 4-star review instead of a 5-star review, and saying that it could have been better, like the guy that off the United Healthcare CEO. Okay, guys, we're at an hour and a half now. I really appreciate you guys showing up. Go out there if you're in an area where you're getting hit with this winter storm, especially you guys down south and on the East Coast. Stay alert, be aware of what's going on. If you've still got time to get out ahead of it. I guess Ryan Hall is reporting that the South's going to get hit with more stuff here in the next couple of days. But you guys need to prepare for it. Yes, thank you very much, Lynn. hit that like button, even if you don't like me. As we always say around here, you know, I said it before, Angela likes telling people to be a certain percentage better. All I want you guys to do is when you go to bed tomorrow, you should have done something that makes you more prepared when you go to bed than when you woke up in the morning. And it's hard to do. It's hard to keep that type of focus, but you can do it, right? Most importantly, I want everybody to go out and live a life done free. All right, guys.